Hi, I'm Erik Linask, coming to you in the TMC newsroom from San Jose, California this week. Today I'm talking with Mannix O'Connor from MRV Communications. Mannix, thanks for joining me.
You're welcome, Erik. My pleasure.
So, can you start off by giving us sort of the latest rundown from MRV?
Absolutely. Well, MRV is a US-based company, and we sell exclusively to service providers, wave division multiplexing, carrier Ethernet, access equipment, and we've been pioneers in this area since 1988 and participate in many of the standards groups that define management and redundancy and other important characteristics to make Ethernet a viable transport and carrier protocol.
So, Ethernet, so carrier Ethernet has I'd say over the past year or so, become extremely hot as far as topics go. Why is that?
It's very important because it, as a protocol, delivers a lot more bandwidth. So obviously all of us want videos and mobile and a lot more use of our internet and everywhere. So if we use traditional telecom protocols to do that, the bandwidth and the architectures to do that are more complex and more expensive. So Ethernet has evolved over time to be it was inexpensive and high bandwidth, but it wasn't as robust. It didn't restore well. It didn't have good quality of service. So over time, the engineers and standards groups have added sophistication to Ethernet. Now it's called carrier Ethernet in order to provide those characteristics.
So, how does carrier Ethernet compare to the typical definition of Ethernet that most people are probably aware of? What's running in your office or in your home?
Exactly. It has more management capabilities. So it has more restoration capability. So those are our two key factors that have been added to Ethernet. And it's now more connection oriented than it was. So quality of service and restoration, reliability, manageability, these are all key attributes that service providers need if they're going to use it as a protocol.
What about the cost factor in terms of deploying carrier Ethernet?
That's a good question. It's widely perceived as less expensive than circuit-based technologies. And I think when you compare bandwidth to bandwidth, it is less expensive. But when you go to do a deployment, the cost looks similar. It's just with carrier Ethernet, you tend to get a higher bandwidth.
Well, and as we all know, bandwidth is king these days.
The IETF, the ITU, the Metro Ethernet Forum, all of these groups have been working 10 years or more to develop the protocols, these packet-based mechanisms that deliver the QoS.
Are we going to continue to see the kind of growth in the carrier Ethernet market as we have?
We've just started to see, it is a very small percentage of the circuits or the connections today. So I think, don't quote me, maybe 6 or 8%. So we have a lot of growth in that area to go.
Wonderful. Are there any issues that service providers should be concerned with when deploying carrier Ethernet?
There are many issues, and they many of them have to do with how you integrate it with your current network. So how do you match the legacy network to the new network? And it depends on the application. Sometimes it's a data center application, other times cellular backhaul. Each of these has unique characteristics. So I wish I could give you there's such a long list of things to investigate, but MRV combines the transport layer, which is wave division multiplexing, with the carrier Ethernet layer, which is layer 2, which is more of the control and data plane. And when you bring both of those technologies, you get a solid foundation on which to deliver many applications.
No, excellent. I hope that next time we talk, we'll be talking about numbers in the 20-30% range maybe for adoption.
We will.
Excellent. Mannix, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Erik.